Now on the Green Room, I'm joined by the lovely Lorraine Harton, who has been entrusted to me by our good friend and your cousin, Siobhan. She knows where to put pretty ladies, doesn't she? In my care, in my care. But Lorraine Harton here, works in the movie industry. And she's going to tell us all about it. She's a production coordinator. Lorraine, first of all, you're very, very welcome.
Thank you very much.
And a production coordinator, what does a production coordinator do?
Well, basically a production coordinator is kind of the central hub for any communication that goes on in the production of a film. So you look after all the contracts, all the talent, the actors, if there's any transport involved with actors, if there's accommodation, anything like that really. And I was quite lucky because I work with Taylor Films, who produced Stitches, the film.
Stitches, we're going to hear about Stitches now in a moment.
So I was there kind of from the very beginning. So I got to also sit in on a lot of casting, any of the casting processes I was sort of involved with as well, which is great. We held big open auditions and I was there for all of them. So it was brilliant. I got to see it from the very beginning right up until post-production, promoting it now. So
fantastic.
It's great.
Now, a lot of people will look at that camera there because a lot of people are going to recognise you from The Devil's Kaylee.
Probably not.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I recognised her as soon as she came in.
Okay.
You were the naughty nun.
I was, but I was helping out Noel Sack, who's the stage manager, and Philip just asked me to stand in as a nun. So I really wasn't doing much acting at all. I just came in at the last minute as well and had some. But it was great, and it was great fun.
Anybody that didn't see Lorraine as she was, I'm sure there's photographs somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure there is somewhere, all right. I think there was a photograph in the set of everybody.
Yeah.
I was wearing my habit. But again, it was a very small part. Some of my friends didn't even recognise me, which was great.
Some of the men recognised you. I recognised you. For definite. I've never seen a nun like that before. But would you like to carry on with the acting?
Oh, well, I've always been really interested in theatre, and when I was in college I would have been very heavily involved with the drama society, so it was great to get back into that and do even just a little bit. Like I say, I only came in at the very end, but it was the last plan. I'd always wanted to be involved with the theatre company before, with the Gonzo Theatre before now, but seeing as it was the last year, I decided to take the week off work and come down and try and help out. So it was great to do it and just to see how they work. And
you would just dress up in this nun's outfit, this naughty nun's outfit. I promise I want to get a photograph of this now, just for research purposes.
It wasn't actually that bad. It was from here up. It was pretty civilised.
Yeah, but it's from your waist down.
Well, luckily, a lot of people who knew me didn't even recognise me, so that's good.
I'm not even going to say. Anyway, Lorraine, tell us about the film you've just worked on now.
Yeah, so the film is called Stitches, and it's a horror comedy about a clown. He's a children's party clown. He's really sleazy and rude and just not a nice man really at all. His name is Richard Grindle, or Stitches the clown. Yeah. And he's played by the British comedian Ross Noble. So Stitches goes to a children's party one day and he's accidentally killed. So the child whose party Stitches was killed at, this is 6 years later, he's turning 16, so his friends decide to throw him a house party. But unbeknownst to them, Stitches has been resurrected from the dead by a group of ancient clowns, and he comes back to the party to avenge his death. So it's a horror comedy. It's very funny. It's very funny.
Were you on location? What did you see?
Yeah, we shot in Enniskerry. We shot everything in Enniskerry in Wicklow. So we were in a big, massive mansion of a house there, and we shot everything there, and everything was on location. Yeah, I think there was only one thing they did in the studio, and that was at the very end, but everything was on location. So we were there for six weeks. We shot it in 6 weeks.
That's quick.
Yes, it was very. We only had Ross Noble for 3 weeks, so we had to shoot all of his parts in 3 weeks, which was very hectic. So long days and long weeks, but it was great fun. And
so he's the star of the.
He's the star of the show, yeah. And Tommy Knight, who some people might know from Doctor Who and the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Oh yeah,
he's a bit of a teen heartthrob.
He's for the younger generation.
Ladies, yeah. So he's in it, and another actress called Gemma Leah Devereaux, who would have been in The Tudors. So it's very good.
Yeah, no messing around there.
Yeah.
And when's it due out then?
The 26th of October, in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's not long.
No, it's only 2 or 3 weeks now.
You have me addressed now for the launch.
Yeah, for the premiere.
For the premiere.
Well, actually, it was premiered in a Fright Fest, a horror festival in London, which is like the biggest horror festival in the world, and it won Best Death Scene. So we were very happy with that.
Best death scene.
Best death scene, yeah.
Is it gory?
It is gory, but it's almost like, you know, horror films from the 80s. It's gore, but it's
Halloween
very
and...
fake gore. I can't watch horror films at all, like films like Hostel and that. I really can't. That realistic
tension
gore.
ones,
I
yeah.
can't watch films like that. But Stitches is very, very funny. It's supposed to be funny gore. It's not supposed to be uncomfortable gore, if that makes sense.
No,
so
it does. Like,
it does appeal. I think it appeals to a lot of people, and it's very funny.
Because you have them other ones like Saw and things like that.
Yeah, like it's not like that at all. It's really not. It's really kind of a fake. All the effects were done live, so it's all. Did
you see any of them being done?
I did, yeah. I saw most of them being done, yeah. So that was great. And we know the people who did the prosthetics are actually called the Bowsy Workshop, and they're brilliant. They did all the prosthetics because we'd worked with them before.
Are they an Irish company?
They are, yeah. They're based in
yeah?
Dublin, yeah. They'd worked with us before on Zombie Bashers. We won, you know, Storyland that the Begrudgers won this year. Well, we won that 2 years ago.
Zombie Bashers. It's steeped in
horror comedy.
Horror comedy.
Yeah.
In movie land. But are you going to pursue this yourself?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'd love to keep working in film and TV, but I also really enjoy theatre as well. So I suppose I don't really know what I'll end up doing, but I'm really enjoying it at the moment.
Can you mix the two? It's a bit of sacrilege, isn't it? Theatre and TV. TV doesn't like theatre people, and theatre people
I don't know.
like,
I suppose that the main reason why it'd be hard to mix the two is because both are such long days and long hours, and you really have to be committed to both of them.
But you enjoy it, and if you enjoy it...
Oh yeah, if you enjoy it, and you have to enjoy it, I think. If you're going to work in either of them, you really have to enjoy it. Well, I mainly film I know about, but you really do have to enjoy it because it's a big commitment. But it's so interesting.
Where's the premiere of Stitches again? Where is it?
It's in Dublin.
Where?
It's in Cineworld.
Oh, right.
In Cineworld, yeah. So hopefully Siobhan will be able to preview it
and be able to
review.
Oh, well, if she needs company to go to the go to the pictures, Siobhan, you better ring me.
Yeah.
And let me know. I'll be there.
Yeah.
It'd be great to see it though.
Oh yeah.
Who else was in? Ross Noble, that other teeny bopper.
Tommy Knight, Gemma Leah Devereaux, and then everybody else are all unknown Irish actors.
Right.
Basically, we had loads of open auditions, went out to school. So all the teenagers in it are actually teenagers. They're not like 26-year-olds pretending to be 16-year-olds. They're all actually 17, 18.
I know, I'd get that problem all the time. When I go for auditions, trying to be 16.
Yeah. So it's good that it is a lot of unknown Irish actors or actors who would have done a lot of theatre work or whatever, but people might know them in films. So it's great. It's a brilliant opportunity for all the actors involved as well.
Lorraine, what are you going to do next? Would you like to be a producer or?
Yeah, producing would be really interesting. I suppose there's different areas. Casting is another. I suppose because I did it quite a lot. I was involved with quite a lot of the casting in Stitches, and I really enjoyed that.
When you say casting, now do you sit in on the auditions as well?
There was a casting director, and obviously he's himself and the director are in charge of casting everybody. But I suppose because I was involved from the start, I was able to contact a lot of the agencies and say, we're looking for someone like this. Would you have anybody in mind? And they'd send over someone, and just organising the auditions, even that part of it I really enjoyed. So casting is definitely something that I would be interested in.
The thing about films is everybody watches films, obviously.
Yeah.
And everybody reads the credits.
Yeah, but
nobody knows who does what.
Yeah,
though.
that's the thing, and there's so many of them.
Because people have asked me before about what does the producer do? You know, do they actually produce? I said no. I said they do everything.
Everything.
If somebody, if you've got some actor that says I want such, or they want a certain type of car, for example.
Yeah. The producer and the producer, I suppose, tells the production manager, and then the production manager tells the coordinators and everyone else, and then they have to do it. Production is just such a massive job.
And the director,
is kind of I suppose he is
king.
Yes, he's king, and everyone. I suppose it's his vision, and I know his or her vision, and I know that sounds a bit la-di-da, but it is really. It's him or her that brings that together. So you need a combination of both.
And the director says, right, I want this to happen, I want this window to fall, and I want him to fall out of it.
And then everyone else has to figure out how they can do that.
Oh, right. So the assistant director takes over then?
Well, the assistant director, I suppose, is there to make sure that everything runs on schedule, and they have to do up the whole schedule, which is a massive job for a feature film, and make sure everyone's there on time. If someone's not there on time, why not? Like there is so much involved in the assistant director as well. That's
the assistant director is the employer.
Yeah,
for that period of time.
They're the person that makes sure that the director doesn't have to get stressed, I suppose, because they have to make sure that everything's running on time, that everyone's on the ball, and everyone's doing their job. And if they're not, why not?
So he's carrying the can, basically.
Yeah.
And then the best boy Oh, him or her, yes, I beg your pardon. Sorry, ladies.
Yeah.
The best boy.
Yeah, the best boy then is...
Sounds like a dog.
Yeah, well, there's the best boy and then there's the gaffer. And the best boy is basically the head electrician and they're in charge of the lights.
Why the best boy?
I don't know why it's called the best boy.
It's because it's one that comes up at the end of loads of films, and of course, credits got. I remember watching Superman, the first one, years ago, donkeys years ago.
Yeah.
The credits ran for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I suppose, especially in big budget feature films. There's just so many people on the crew. There's so many people on the crew. We had actually quite. I suppose our one would be mid-budget. Well, no, it's actually considered low budget, but and we had maybe around just under 1 million.
Oh, that's
low budget. Yeah,
that is low budget.
So, and we had around, I don't know, would it be 50 people on the crew?
Yeah.
So,
and
that's quite I suppose.
And everyone had to get paid out of that 1 million.
Yeah.
But who reaps the benefits?
Probably. Well,
I've heard about films where people are offered, come and work on the film, you'll get paid and you'll get a share.
Oh,
so right. You work for low money.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be... Well, I don't know. I suppose I wouldn't know
Maybe
much about that.
I'm not sure.
I think it's probably better to just pay people a set wage and everyone knows what they're getting paid and that's it. Because that happened with a film recently, didn't it? Charlie Casanova or something. And I don't know if people...
It went...
Well, I don't know if people did actually get a share in it or not.
Get shared or get paid.
I don't know anything about it, actually. Probably shouldn't be saying anything, but I think it's probably better just to get a set. But it depends as well. Like, sometimes the producers might get a share in it, but then it depends on the scale of the film. Obviously, on a big budget film, the producers would be the ones that are reaping it all in. But then on a lower budget film, there's so much money has to be spent on distribution and promotion and everything else that sometimes...
Which is the other part that people don't see at all.
Yeah.
And then it has to be accepted, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, it has to be sold. You can make a whole film, and actually the girls Tailored Films, the company that I work for, this is their first feature film, and it's for their first feature film. It's done really well. It was brought over to Cannes and it was sold at Cannes. 2 people bought it.
So it's on the move.
At Cannes, and that was great, even just to get that far. And then the fact that it was put into cinemas, and so it's doing really, really well. So hopefully now it'll do well in
Stitches.
cinema.
So
Stitches.
It could
do really well. You just wouldn't know. There hasn't been I don't think there has been an Irish film like this out. I was going to say in a while, but I actually don't think there's ever been an Irish film like this. I know there was Boy Eats Girl, which I didn't see, but I don't think it's on this. It's not the same kind of comedy, and even the effects.
Is it funny?
It's very funny. Yes, it is funny.
Because you get lots of comedies nowadays.
Yeah, no, it is funny. But then, if anybody's into horror or gore or anything like that, there is that as well. But like I say, it's really not uncomfortable gore.
And you were on the shoot, right? So when somebody's doing a funny scene, and have to do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah, well, I suppose our schedule was actually so tight that there wasn't really that much time to do it again and again and again. So I suppose the actors were actually brilliant, and Ross was brilliant because sometimes a lot of the time they could just do it once. And especially with a lot of the effects, like there's one scene where somebody's head has to blow up, and obviously they could only do that once. So, I
bet he was well paid.
Yes. but
you won't be in tomorrow.
It's actually funny because at the end we were looking for bloopers, and because it was such a tight schedule, there actually wasn't that many bloopers because it had to be done. It had to be done. It had to be done on the first or second take, and that was it.
Would you like to be a director?
Directing would be really interesting, but I think there's specific skills, very specific skills that you need to be a director, and I just don't know. I don't have enough experience.
Is there a director's school that you can go to and learn?
Well, film school, really. I went to DIT and I did a course in media arts, it was called. I think it's called film and broadcasting now. Basically film and TV production. And there you could learn how to be a director, and you learn to be... You just do a film degree, and out of that's where the writers and directors...
So where did this interest for Lorraine Harton come from? Watching films or...
Yeah, I've just always been really interested in film, and I suppose when I was younger I would have been more interested in drama and acting, and then when I was in secondary school I just noticed all of a sudden that I was far more interested in who directed the film rather than who was in it, and I think that's when I was thinking, oh god, actually I think I'd like to be interested in the making of it rather than being in it. And
so do you have to watch a film twice now? Because first time you're going to watch it and you're going to go, oh, that's a good angle. Oh, that's good. I like the way they did that. And not watch the film.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You're
not seeing it.
I think when I first went to college and they tell you all about all the theory and everything
Yeah.
like that, yeah, it does change the way you look at film, but it doesn't ruin it the way people think it
Yes,
does.
yeah.
Now you watch it and that's always in the back of your head, but at the same time you can still switch off.
Yes,
and
yeah,
just
yeah.
but it's always in the back of your head.
Because I find it too with
That.
music. I've been involved in
Yeah.
music forever.
Right.
And you listen to something, you go, oh my God, how did they do that bit?
Yeah, yeah.
That nobody would hear.
Yeah.
And then
But-
you listen to it again, you go, oh yeah, that's...
But if anything, it just makes you enjoy it more. You know, if it's a good film, it just makes you appreciate it even more. You know, you think it's brilliant, but you kind of know why you think it's so good. And so I think if anything, it just sort of enhances the experience
does,
of
so, yeah.
watching.
So Tailor-Made Productions.
Tailored Films.
Taylor Films.
Yes.
Who's behind that?
Julianne Ford and Ruth Tracy. They're two women from Dublin, and two young women from Dublin, and they started this company around 5 or 6 years ago, and they did a lot of promotional videos and ads and things like that, and they entered Storyland basically, and Conor McMahon, who's the director of Stitches, was the director of Zombie Bashers, which
Right.
was their entry in Storyland, the RT series.
Yes, yeah.
So they won Storyland in 2010, and then ever since then we had a program there on RT, a children's program there called Tim's Tactical Tips, and then they produce Stitches, so they're getting more and more into
It's going
TV
and going and
yeah,
going. Are
yeah.
you employed by them?
I am, yeah. So-
Contract or have you...
No, I'm employee of
So what's
Taylor
next?
Films, yeah. Next, I'm not sure, there's a few things in the pipeline.
What's the girls' names?
Ruth and Julianne.
Ruth and Julianne, we
Yeah.
want you on here. We want you on
Yeah.
here to talk. Next time we get Lorraine on, we want you on here
The fun is
for the
that.
crack. Get this side of the camera
Yeah.
and tell us the whole crack. And
That would be great.
tell us she's any good. We know she's brilliant.
Yes.
Go on,
Maybe
what's
we shouldn't.
so what's next?
Well,
For
they have-
Tailor-Made? For Tailor
Tailored films.
Tailored films.
Yeah. Well, basically, they have a few things in the pipeline at the moment. A few films and a few TV ideas at the moment. Just constantly thinking. I suppose just constantly writing and thinking.
And
of
they have to be
ideas
on the
and-
ball.
Yeah.
You
all
have
the
to
time.
keep moving,
Yeah, you just
on,
have to
yeah.
keep doing it. Even Conor McMahon, the director, as soon as Stitches was finished, it was just on to the next project, on to
Yeah.
writing the next project. So we're going to, I suppose, put a few ideas into the film board and see if any of them get the go ahead.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So hopefully.
So the film board can give you funding and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah, and then there's other places that can give you funding as well, European funding and things like that.
And as we were saying earlier, nobody realises the cost
Yeah,
of making a film, and
yeah,
everything has to be.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. So
It's
it's a
terrible.
big process,
Terrible. So
but it's great fun.
next
Fun.
project, we get you acting. Next time we get Lorraine on, she will have the Naughty Nuns outfit on.
Yes. No.
Well, Lorraine, thanks for joining us. We're going to get
Thanks,
Lorraine back
David.
because this is really good, and we're going to get an in-depth interview with Lorraine about the ins and outs of the movie business at a later date.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Lorraine, for the last time, tell everyone about the film and when it's out.
Okay, so the film is called Stitches and it's out on October 26th. So please go and see it. The opening weekend, if you can. That's the most important. Stitches, October 26th.
Will it be nationwide? Or
It will,
does
nationwide.
Yes.
Yeah, it is in cinemas nationwide. So just have a look. I'm not sure exactly what cinemas it's going to be in yet, but it is all over the country.
So check your local cinema.
Yeah.
And Stitches, starring Ross Noble.
Ross Noble,
And the other two, what's the names?
Tommy Knight.
Oh, Tommy, of course, Tommy. That's the good-looking bloke. Who's your woman?
Gemma Devereaux.
From the Tudors.
Yeah,
Of course
from
I
the
know.
Tudors, yeah.
Lorraine, thanks a million.
Thank you. Thanks very
And we
much.
get her back on again. Ladies and gentlemen, Lorraine Harton.
Everybody happy?